Here's another instalment of GBN America with me, Patrick Christys. And today I am extremely excited to talk about this. So it's Daniel Miller, right, who is the president of the Texas Nationalist movement. Over here, we had Brexit, all right? Now this guy wants Texit. Daniel, thank you very much for joining me here at GBN America. Talk Texit to me. What's it all about?
Well, I mean, look, you guys have a very clear picture of what it looks like when people want to reclaim their right of self-government. And it's exactly what we've been working on over here since 1996. We started out the Texas Nationalist movement in 2005 to try to make Texas a reality. And what we've seen is growth from support in single digits to now the latest polling shows that support for Texas is 60% of voters in Texas. So we're ready to reclaim our right of self-government and become a self-governing nation among nations.
What's led that surge in popularity, do you think? Is it to do with immigration? What's behind it?
Well, look, I think immigration and particularly the border issues are real drivers. You know, something that we saw during the Brexit debate was the role that unrestricted mass migration played in helping people understand the fundamental brokenness of the European Union. And it's something that we're seeing here. And while, you know, unrestricted mass migration, the border issues are not the sole motivator, they do represent an outsized portion of it, but it really is symptomatic of a much larger problem in that the relationship between the federal government and the states is fundamentally broken. Texans want to govern themselves in a very certain way. The federal government implements a one-size-fits-none policy, and in doing so, they ignore the wishes of the people, not just in Texas, but in other states as well.
Just promise me if you guys do it that you make a better job of it, because over here what happened was we voted to take back control of our borders and our government decided to open our borders up to a completely different cohort of people. It's radically changed society and we've got record levels of immigration since. So please promise me, Daniel, that you make a better job of it if you guys do manage to get Texit through. But what would it practically look like, okay? I mean, is there any constitutional precedent for this? I mean, could you have things like your own defense force? I mean, where would all the money come from? Realistically, economically, these are all the questions that people will be asking, right?
Sure. Look, Texas is already the 8th largest economy in the world. You know, we've gone from number 10 to number 8 in a span of less than a decade. But Texas has pretty much what you would consider the infrastructure that a self-governing independent nation would have. You know, when you talk about defense, Texas already has the Texas Military Department. In fact, the Texas Military Department have been deployed by the governor right now for border protection to pick up where the federal government has done just an absolute terrible job and really are facilitating this invasion on our southern border. So, you know, Texas is set. And frankly, when you look at Texas across all measures, whether it be politically, economically, or culturally, if Texas couldn't make it as an independent nation, then who can?
And the Texas GOP chairman, talk to me about that. Matt Rinaldi, what's going on there?
So our organization launched a petition campaign back in June of last year to place a question on the party's primary ballot. We delivered on December the 11th, we delivered 139,456 signatures, which is 42% over the statutory minimum to force this issue on the Republican primary ballot. He rejected those and in doing so violated the Texas Election Code. And we intend to fully litigate. But let's be honest, at this point, having it on the ballot in March, just on the Republican primary ballot, is really secondary to the fact that everyone is talking Texit because of this constitutional crisis on the border right now. So next week, we fully intend to deliver those same petition signatures to Governor Greg Abbott with a demand for a special session of the legislature to put Texas on the ballot and ask Texans the question, should the state of Texas reassert its status as an independent nation?
Yeah, look, I would absolutely love to come and do a show from the southern border, just to see the reality of it. But I'm stuck here in London at the moment, as viewers will be able to see. So could you just give us a reality of what it's like over there at that border at the moment? What steps are being put in place? You mentioned that the Texas military are now involved. What's going on?
Yeah, it is a crisis of every sort, a national security crisis, a public safety crisis, a public health crisis. And I want people just to understand the magnitude of the situation at the border right now that's been created by the federal government. Every single solitary month, there are more illegal aliens that cross the border between Texas and Mexico than the number of Allied troops that stormed the beaches of Normandy at D-Day. You have the head of the Border Patrol Union, obviously a federal agency, that has come out and publicly said that the border region is in operational control by the drug cartels from Mexico. We have a humanitarian crisis of unprecedented proportion. And while the federal government works in collusion with the cartels and the Mexican government, it's been left up to Texas to do everything that we can. So recently, there has been some court wrangling where the Supreme Court of the United States kicked back a case essentially allowing the Biden administration to tear down some of the defenses that Texas has put up. Governor Abbott has for quite some time deployed the Texas military department down there to supplement. But now we're in unprecedented territory where Greg Abbott has, under an emergency declaration of invasion, taken over a city park in a town called Eagle Pass, which is right on the border, and told the federal government, get out of the park. We're taking care of our border protection now. So this is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But at the end of the day, we know the only way that Texas will ever be able to secure its border and have a sensible immigration policy is to become a self-governing independent nation.
Is it legal to succeed, though? Is it actually legal? I mean, what's the Supreme Court had to say about it? Or, frankly, look, are you prepared to just break the law when it comes to this and just do what's in your best interest?
Well, it's interesting because the opposition loves to talk about how withdrawing from the Union is unconstitutional, but yet they can point to no provision in the Constitution that forbids it. One thing people need to understand about the United States Constitution is it's a limiting document on the federal government. It delegates from the states very few powers to the federal government. In fact, under Article 1, Section 10, there is a list of everything that states are prohibited from doing. Withdrawing from the Union is not on that list. So under the 10th Amendment, that is a power that is reserved to the states. And here in Texas, in the Texas Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, we reserve as an inalienable right to the people to alter, reform, or abolish our government in such manner as we may think expedient. So while people may say it's unconstitutional, it's very clear that it is constitutional for states to withdraw. The Supreme Court did chime in on this issue back in the 1860s, but since then, all of the logic behind that court decision has been overturned by subsequent rulings related to other things. So, we're on firm ground, but beyond the constitutional grounds, we're on the moral and ethical grounds. At any time that governments become destructive of their ends and destructive of the rights of the people have the ability to choose how they are governed. It is a fundamental right of self-government that has obviously been recognized by the United States and really everyone else in the world for the last 80 years.
Look, we have a massive problem over here at the moment about outdated laws and outdated treaties and human rights agreements, etc., that were drawn up for a time that bears no resemblance to the actual lived experience that is happening right now. Okay, we have a massive problem with that here in Britain, especially when it comes to illegal immigration, granting refugee status, granting asylum, and not being able to deport people. And the uphill battle we've got, Daniel, over here, to try to just get those laws updated for modern times, which sounds a little bit like what's going on over there. You're saying that, you've got to deal with what's pragmatic in front of you right now, and that if that needs radical action, then so be it. But Daniel, thank you very much. I hope to talk to you again very soon. Good luck with whatever you're doing, and hopefully we can touch base again going forward. That's Daniel Miller there, who is the president of the Texas Nationalist movement. Exciting stuff. Watch this space when it comes to Texas.